I love to garden, but boy, I sure hate pulling weeds, don't you? In Matthew 13, Jesus tells us a parable about weeds. A farmer sowed good wheat seed in his field, but when the crop began to come up, it was filled with weeds. Apparently, an enemy had sown weeds in his wheat field when he wasn't looking. His farmhands, eager to get rid of the weeds, offered to pull up the weeds and throw them out. But the farmer, wishing not to uproot his wheat also, determined to let the wheat and the weeds grow together and separate them at the harvest. Then the weeds would be bundled and burned. Now, thankfully, Jesus later explains the meaning of this parable. Christ is the farmer, the wheat are the followers of Christ, the devil's the enemy, and the weeds are those who refuse to follow Jesus. The field is the world, and the harvest is the end of the age. Right now, just like the wheat and the weeds were left to grow together, so are those who follow Christ and those who refuse to follow Christ. We live right among one another, maybe even in the same household. But there's coming a day when the two groups will be separated. As the weeds would be separated from the wheat, those who refuse to follow Christ will be separated from those who follow Christ. And those who refuse to follow Christ will be bundled and burned in the fiery furnace of hell. Beloved, God has lovingly warned you. Please turn from your sin and trust in Christ. Follow Christ before it's everlastingly too late. Change begins in you.
The Change Begins in You is brought to you in part by Piggly Wiggly of Collinsville, Patrick Allen Companies, Mitchell Tire and Wrecker in Collinsville, and Mowdy Cabinetry.